All right, folks, my first guest is the man who's leading the charge to make America safer again every single day. Happy to announce Border Czar Tom Homan is back with us. Border Czar Homan, appreciate your time. Very hot day in Washington. This bill, tell the American people exactly how important it is on both sides of the aisle, frankly, political aisle, how important it is to get this big, beautiful bill passed, especially to Homeland Security.
Look, the big beautiful bill is a must-have, right? I think it's a nonpartisan issue to have a secure border and to arrest significant public safety threats and national security threats that are running around this country. I said the other day we got 600,000 illegal aliens with criminal convictions walking the street of this nation. We need more agents on the ground. We need more detention beds. We need more transportation. The big beautiful bill does this. It should be a nonpartisan issue, removing public safety threats. I can't understand the debate on this, but every day we arrest criminal aliens across the country, makes this country safe again. I looked at the numbers this morning. ICE has already arrested over 200 Iranian nationals in this country that are a significant national security concern. For more money, we can do more. It should be a simple answer to this. So I'm asking every person out there, call your congressman, call your senator, call your congressman, and tell them they need to pass this bill. It'll make this country safe again, and we'll keep the promise to the American people that President Trump made to them to make this country safe again. We've got the most secure border in the history of this nation. You want to make that security permanent. You want to make sex permanent? We need money to build walls work. More money for technology within the existing wall so agents can talk to one another. We know when someone approaches a wall, digs under that wall. This big, beautiful bill is going to permanently seal the success we have on the border and let us arrest more public safety threats across this country every single day.
Let's talk about that success you're having on the border, folks. If you don't realize this, last month, that man right there, Tom Homan, along with the whole border security, Homeland Security, Donald Trump, et cetera, they let zero people, illegal criminals coming across the border into the country, as opposed to 67,000 a year ago. 67,000 let go inside the country, zero under that Border Czar right there last month. Tom, let's talk a little bit about this injunction, these injunctions that are continuing being slapped on, President Trump's ideas, your ideas, deport these illegals. Finally, the Supreme Court steps in and says, enough, activist judges, it's not going to happen any further. Do you think they've paved the way to continue the work you've done? Or are you going to get more activist judges trying to, disrespect the Supreme Court?
Well, look, it was a great Supreme Court decision. I don't think game's over. I think you'll have activist judges try to stick their fingers in this every single day. I cannot believe we're at a point where a district court judge, and I say district court judge, will make a decision that affects the entire nation, put a nationwide injunction in place. It was a great win by the Supreme Court. I think we can move forward and be even more successful than we already are. But don't think for a minute that radical judges aren't going to try to get in the middle of our success. But I think we got the greatest president of my lifetime sitting in the White House. We're going to keep fighting every day, again, to keep the promise to the American people to make this country safe again. So if they want to keep bringing it, bring it. We'll take it on. But the men and women at ICE are going to be out in their full force today, tomorrow, and the next day. The radical judges aren't going to stop what we're doing. Again, every criminal public safety threat we arrest makes that community safer. Everybody should be in agreement with that, and we're going to continue doing that.
It's bizarre that anyone would disagree with that, and every time there's a violent crime perpetrated by one of these illegals, every Democrat should be held to account for that. Tom, the question is, so the Supreme Court says no more of these nationwide injunctions by district court judges on birthright citizenship. Will that also spill into some of the other things that they try to do at the court level? Stop you, for example, from deporting these criminals to El Salvador, for example?
No, look, I think the battle continues, right? It's a great decision by the Supreme Court, but I don't think for a minute these radical judges are just going to go away. They're going to try to do what they can within the law, and frankly outside the law and their interpretation of the law, to try to slow us down. But thank God we got Pam Bondi as the Attorney General. Thank God we got Kash Patel. We got Kristi Noem. This president's got one hell of a team, and we're going to be fighting to do the right thing. We're not making it. Here's what people need to understand. ICE isn't making this up. We're enforcing the laws enacted by Congress and signed by a president. We're enforcing laws as given to us by Congress and appropriated. They give us funding to enforce the law. And we're out looking for these illegal aliens. A vast majority of them already have final orders issued by a federal judge. They had to due process at great taxpayer expense. We're simply executing orders that were issued by a federal judge. So, you know, if you think about it, we're enforcing laws enacted by Congress. We're enforcing removal orders issued by a federal judge. We're not making this up. We're going to keep doing what we're doing. If people have a problem with it, you go protest Congress. They're the ones who wrote the law. We're simply enforcing it. But again, we're not going to slow down. We'll be out there every day enforcing laws of this great country and making this country safe every day.
So tomorrow is a big event. I've seen this a while ago, and I wanted to talk to you guys about it. And it's really, in the last couple of weeks, blown up into quite an interesting concept. Governor DeSantis down here in Florida is opening Alligator Alcatraz right here in Florida. So what this is a detention center that will house, I believe, a couple thousand, if I'm not wrong, illegals. Interesting, in the middle of the Everglades, and that's really why they're calling it Alligator Alcatraz. Tell us about the genesis of this. I have a follow-up question on this after.
Well, look, you know, we know Governor DeSantis, he's been in front of this the entire time. And soon after President Trump became the president for the second time, Governor DeSantis didn't hesitate to get legislation in the state of Florida. Every sheriff and chief of police in the state of Florida have no choice but to work with ICE. Governor DeSantis passed legislation doing that. He's also come to the table with this new facility that's going to give us a couple thousand beds. And we're using funding that used to go to NGOs, put illegal aliens in a hotel room at $500 a night, and using some of this funding for this. The beds are a reasonable cost. They'll be up very soon, and they're in a place where most Americans aren't going to argue. And a lot of communities, they don't want a prison or a detention facility near them. Here's a great place. Governor DeSantis is leaning forward on this. We'll certainly fill those beds as quick as that facility opens up. We'll fill those beds, which, again, getting back to big, beautiful bills, why we need that bill to buy more beds. I think this morning I woke up, and I think we got 1,800 empty beds. We're going to fill them in 2 days. Now, we're going to do removal flights and move, empty some more beds up, but we're constantly playing catch-up. The big, beautiful bills give us more beds beyond a couple of thousand that Governor DeSantis is building right now. We need more on top of that. So, again, the more money we have for more detention beds and more officers and more contract personnel to do jobs that don't require a badge and gun, so we can put the badge and gun on the street rather than sitting in an office doing keystrokes and some administrative duty, we need that funding. So Governor DeSantis is coming to the table with this, but we need more beyond that. But God bless Governor DeSantis stepping up. I appreciate him for doing that.
It's amazing. And just to reiterate what you just said, it kind of flew under the radar there that you're using some of the funding for this. So some of the beds will come from the NGOs who used to get money from USAID or whomever to hide illegals and to support illegal immigration. You're going to take that money away from them and add it to stopping illegal immigration. Did I get that correct?
You got it correct, and here's a good thing. When they're in an ICE detention facility, contracted facility we control, they get a hearing within 40 days. But under the Biden administration, the NGO got put them in a hotel room in New York City at $500 a night. They get put on what we call the non-detained docket, which means their hearing is 3, 5, 7 years out, depending if they exhaust other appeals. And that's what the Democratic Party was doing. They're playing the long game. They figured they put them in these facilities and have their hearings 3, 5, 7 years out, then maybe a Democratic administration comes back in the future, then they give amnesty to millions of people. We're not playing that game. We're playing the short, long game too. But what we're doing is putting people in our facilities that get a hearing within 40 days. 90% will lose their case. They simply don't qualify for asylum. We put them on an airplane and send them home. That sends a message to the whole world. There's a right way and wrong way to come to this country. If you cross the border illegally, you're not going to be released. You're going to be detained. You're going to be deported. We're the most giving nation in the entire world. We welcome more refugees than any other nation in the world, and we'll continue doing that. But we're also going to be a nation of laws. Our border is no longer open. You won't be released in this country. You'll be detained and removed. 0 releases.
Amen. Amen. Very quickly, Tom, because I know you got to go. Just talk to us a little bit about the contrast between blue states and red states. As you point out, in Florida, DeSantis is turning Alligator Alcatraz, an abandoned airstrip, into a ICE detention facility. In New York City, where I believe you're headed very soon, you have a socialist, almost a Marxist actually, who's right now the leading contender to be next mayor of New York City. The juxtaposition of those two positions, specifically on immigration, is stunning, jarring.
Well, look, sanctuary jurisdictions are sanctuary for criminals. Hard stop. They don't give us access to the jail where we can safely take into custody an illegal alien who's been arrested for a violent offense. Think about it for a moment. We want access to jail to talk to the person they locked in a jail cell. That's who we want to talk to. They don't allow that. They release them in the community. They knowingly release a public safety threat back in the community to reoffend. It's unsafe for the agent to seek that person out in the community. It's unsafe for the alien. It's certainly unsafe for the public, the public sector, the community. So here's what sanctuary cities are going to get. They're going to get exactly what they don't want: more agents in the community and more worksite enforcement. If we can't arrest a bad guy in the safety and security of a jail, then we'll go to community and find him. We'll go to worksite and find him. President Trump's already said it a couple weeks ago. We're going to double down on sanctuary cities. We're going to focus and prioritize sanctuary cities. That's the right thing to do. We know we have a problem with sanctuary cities because we know they're releasing public safety threats in the community. We don't have that issue in Florida. So we can use less resources in Florida and more resources in places like New York. That's exactly what the president has committed to do, and that's what we're doing.
Great, great. The mandate the American people gave all of you folks. Very quickly, Tom, before we let you go, your life has probably dramatically changed over the last 5 months. How are you handling it? How are you handling I'm not going to say celebrity, just you become a household name, for example.
Well, look, I think all the credit goes to President Trump, not me. I mean, President Trump's a game changer. He came in and passed executive orders that were game changers. Remain in Mexico, 3 safe country agreements, ending catch and release. I want to give it credit to the men and women wearing that badge and gun. We're at 2 o'clock this morning, you and I sleeping in bed, and there's a Border Czar agent standing on a dirt trail someplace securing our border against, national security threats. There's ICE officers out at 3 o'clock this morning doing surveillance on a significant public safety threat they want to locate and arrest. So I don't take any of the credit. I give the credit to men and women wearing the badge. God bless the men and women of the Border Czar, and God bless the men and women of the United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement. And God bless the greatest president of my lifetime, Donald Trump, because he's letting the Border Patrol and ICE do the job they took an oath to enforce. We finally got a country back. We're going to enforce the laws to make this country safe. So I give thanks to all of those folks. I'm just happy to be part of the team that's doing it.
Well, an integral part of the team, and that is really the American people. Thank you, thank the president. And again, we rode along with some of your ICE agents and others. Those folks go home to their husbands and wives and kids and dogs too. Sometimes people don't realize how we have to protect them as well.
What you just said, let's put stomp on that. People need to understand all the tax and ICE and border places. They're mom and dads too. They have children too. They don't hang their heart on a hook every day they go to work. For God's sakes, these aren't the enemy. These are American patriots who put their lives on the line every day for this nation. If you see one, thank one. They're the greatest 1% this country has.
We're going to leave it at that. Tom Homan, appreciate your time, sir. Stay safe.
All right, thank you.
All right, folks. Tom Homan, awesome man. Border Czar right there. Keep things real. We'll be back in 2.5 minutes.